Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Baltimore Tableau user group meeting. I think this is the first meeting in 2021. I'm Prem. I'm one of the co-leader of Baltimore Tableau user group. My partner in crime, Ryan Chrisberg, if you have attended the Baltimore Tableau user group, you might have seen him. He's out today. He had conflicting priorities, so he was not able to join. So I'll be your host today. Hope you see the SurveyMonkey survey on the screen. If you could take a few seconds to take the survey, that would be great, so that we get to know your background and make sure that in the future we can tailor certain content that would fit a broader audience group. All right, so we'll quickly move on. We have a couple of good things lined up today. So let me quickly move to the next one. By the way, all the attendees will be, we have enabled both audio and video for you. So please participate. We encourage participation here because the speakers are putting in a lot of effort. And we as leaders of the Tableau user group are putting in effort to make this user group successful. So I think participation is what is going to keep us motivated. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask the speakers so that they can clarify it right that moment. And if you have any feedbacks, suggestions, we'll be happy to take it. You can message me through the chat window, and I'll be happy to have a follow-up meetings and so on with you. Quick intro about me. I didn't really put up an intro slide for me. I'm heading the business intelligence practice at Blend 360. Blend 360 is a management consulting / professional services company based in Columbia, Maryland. Blend 360 is a Tableau partner. And me personally, I've been associated with Tableau in some shape or form for the last 7-8 years. As a speaker, as a host, as a user group leader, so happy to continue doing it. So hope you will find this to be informative session. Okay, and we are recording this session. So if you're going to share it with someone else, so hopefully you'll get access to the recorded session after it's ready for everybody's access, and please forward it to others who might get benefited from this. All right. So first of all, we want to thank our host, right? So because they have put in a lot of speakers, they have put in a lot of effort here. So thank you them. And then as you come across their profile, if you're interested in knowing more about them, please get connected with them. Of course, they know that people will be looking for support in the future as well. And the speakers, when they join user group forum, they are here to share their knowledge. So which means that if someone has needs after you leave this user group meeting, you can definitely get connected with them and seek for support if you are in need of any support. For today's agenda, of course, the first topic is going to be Mapbox and Tableau. Karl Ericson from Blend 360 will be giving a demo, a live demo of that, how he is using Mapbox in Tableau and the benefits he gets out of it. Karl is a senior manager at Blend 360, and he's doing some great work using Tableau. I think he uses Tableau day in and day out, so I'm sure he will have a lot of content to share with us. And then the next thing is, this is something we have been doing for quite some time. If you're new to the Baltimore Tableau user group, we do a trivia. It's again online. Viraj from Blend 360 will be hosting that. The winner, the one that comes at the top, that will be getting Tableau e-learning voucher. So it's really a good reward for the winner. So take it seriously. It'll be a very fun event. I'm sure you will have fun doing this trivia. And then Rajavel Selvaraj, he has volunteered to join us. He's at Express right now, and he will share dashboard design skills. I will save his intro for the later part, but thanks, Rajavel, for jumping on it. Appreciate it. With that, I will probably turn this to Karl. Karl, maybe you can take it from here and yeah, share what you have with us.
Good. Thanks, Prem. I'm like Prem. I am with Blend 360. I've been there about a month. Like you said, using Tableau pretty much a majority of my time during the day. It's something I really enjoy. This is my first, at least Baltimore Tableau user group meeting. I'm more in the DC area, so I've attended one or two down here. But what I want to talk about today is Mapbox, which you may or may not have used directly. If you've used Tableau, which I assume everyone here has been doing quite frequently, you've used Mapbox indirectly because as of, I think, 2019.3, a lot of the maps, the default maps within Tableau are provided by the Mapbox service. And Mapbox is most of the things, at least in the context of Tableau, you probably never even touch. It has very advanced mapping related features. Let me bring up the screen real quick. Okay. Can everybody see?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Yep, I can see.
Okay. So you can see Mapbox has quite a number of high profile partners that use their services, Facebook, Yahoo, CNN, even some auto manufacturers. Porsche uses them for their GPS capabilities. So there's a lot of really neat things being done with the Mapbox technology, a lot of which you can't take advantage of in Tableau. And they make it very easy to integrate Mapbox maps and custom maps you design through Mapbox directly into Tableau. It's not free entirely, but it is free up to, I think, 50,000 map views. So I imagine for most of your applications that you would have, you'd never reach that volume. At least I wouldn't. So it's essentially a free service. And especially if you just want to play around with it for things like Tableau Public, it's fun to play around with, and there's no cost associated. And as you can see from some of these samples that they have posted, you can make really beautiful maps. These are kind of a gallery of custom maps that users have made using Mapbox. And the nice thing is a lot of these you can just steal for yourself. So if you like one, you can just say add blueprint to your account and either use it as is or customize it to your need. Because what's great about Mapbox is that you can customize every single part of the map. So, maps within Tableau are good, but you can only change a limited number of things, what layers you want to show, what features. And there are a lot of new features in the recent version of Tableau that let you put spatial files and such as layers. So it has gotten a lot better. But in terms of the actual background map you're using, it's nice to have the flexibility that Mapbox offers. So to create a map, go into Mapbox and you'll have to create an account and select Studio. And so if I want to create a new style of map, it gives you some options of what you want to use as your base map. You've got the basic kind of map. You probably look, maybe even the exact same one that's used in Tableau. You've got a monogram. I think this may be like the blue map that's available in the current versions of Tableau. But then you can also kind of select, high level color change before you go in. And then customization is where you really get into the meat of what you can do in Mapbox. And I'll be honest, I've barely scratched the surface as far as the customization that you can do in these maps, because you could spend countless hours getting a map to look exactly like you want it to. And some of the use cases for this might be if you're working at a company and you want to make your map kind of the colors and the style, the maps, the fonts, etc., kind of match that corporate identity. Mapbox gives you the ability to do that in your base maps that you could then import into a Tableau visualization. So there's kind of two main levels here. There's components, which are kind of your top level buckets of items that'll appear on a map. So natural features, you've got place labels. This is very high level. Let's say I want to change major cities. I can go and I can pick any font that I want, and you can import fonts. Like I said, if you have a corporate font that you want to use, it's all uploadable. You can upload your own content, your own shape files, your own geospatial data, and it will save it to your account so you can use it as needed. So, I mean, I think the best thing to do, is kind of get in here and play around it. You can really see what you want to do. One nice thing I think that they've added recently, and this may have limited use in the context of Tableau, is that it's added 3D building. So if you click on that and you get down to the kind of street level, you can actually see, the buildings here. It's kind of neat. So, I mean, that's it's kind of like what you would see on Google Maps. So that's an option. You can add house numbers. So if you get into a situation where you're really zooming down, you can see the individual numbers of the houses, roads, transit. Now, this is just the component level. When you really get into the details of layers and the level of customization that you can do in terms of colors, what you want to see, etc. So let's just look at Baltimore. Search it like it was a map, any other interactive map. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Sorry. Let's say that didn't look like Baltimore. There's Baltimore. Okay, so you can see where I've changed the font of the city. One thing that makes it really easy is you can either select your components over here, and as you can see, it's very detailed in terms of what's visible, what you want to show, what you don't want to show, what you want it to look like. But you can also click on that, any of those types of elements within the map, which is sometimes easier than trying to find it. So if I click on the water, and it gives me the option of what color I want the things here that I've clicked on to look like. So let's just say water. I want to make it a different color. Just note that you'll have to override the default before you go and change anything. And as you can see, for each component of the map, you have very customizable options here. I'm just going to simply turn this map orange. Actually, as a since it's Baltimore and it's baseball season, let's just make the make it Orioles colors. So it's going to look awful, but so now you've got your Oriole color map, etc. So I can go in, I can change. What do I want to see? Do I want to see, the water labels? You can select any top level category. You can click this, it'll hide it. You can see here where the Patasco River is disappearing, or you can select individual components with that for more detail. And again, you can select any of these different layers and get really detailed on what you want it to look like. So if I want to say, this road, I want to make this road, these roads bright. I mean, obviously this is not really that aesthetically pleasing, but I'm just trying to illustrate that you can really customize this as much as you want. And another nice thing is you can add custom layers. So for example, and this is kind of like what you can do in Tableau, but if you just want to have it kind of on your background map and not necessarily an interactive feature in your visualization, you can pull in any type of geospatial data and have it displayed on your map. So as an example, I've pulled in Baltimore neighborhoods. So I can select that, and you can see where it's now showing, you can see the delineation of all the different neighborhoods in Baltimore. And I think I pulled this from the Maryland Open Data site or some similar site. So here it's just showing it as area, but let's say I don't want it fill, I just wanted a line. So now it kind of overlays your map. And if I go back to my map, well, I should probably change that color. Let me go back to that. And then change the color to white, and now I've got your neighborhoods overlaid on the map. Now you have, it's already kind of got a lot of the neighborhood labels by default. I think that's like, one of these is your, here it is, settlement subdivision. So if I want to turn off the neighborhood labels on there, I can go ahead and duplicate layer, this layer. How do I duplicate this? Duplicate layer. And instead of showing the just the line, the borders, I can go and change it to be like data type, symbol. Yeah, exactly. It's here. Text field, insert a data field. And so I've got the label in here. I can color it white. So obviously this is a little messy, but you kind of get the point. And each of these layers in these labels, you can get into really detailed like style across zoom range. So once you get to a certain zoom level, it'll show it or not show it. So, you know, if you really want to dig in to that level of detail, it has that flexibility. So once you've created a map, and this one I admit is really ugly, what you need to do is you select publish. Okay, so now this map has all these changes that I've made. And this is not obvious, but this is how you get it to Tableau. So you hit share, select third party, Tableau, and now all you need to do is copy this link. And let me change my share for a minute. Okay, so now if I go into Tableau, all I need to do is go to map, background maps, add Mapbox as a default option in here because they obviously have a close relationship with Tableau. Let's call this like, all you have to do is paste in that URL. Well, I don't actually have any here. I'll do it in here because I don't have. Again. So now it's loaded in to my Mapbox feature, and I overlaid it with. I think this is from this is street robberies. So in there you can map and see which neighborhoods have the highest incidence of street robberies. That's from the Baltimore Police Department data. So obviously the I guess the aesthetics of this are not optimal. This was just a quick one I threw together. But what's also nice is that once you've imported your Mapbox map into Tableau, it operates just like any other Tableau map. So I could say map layers, and the layers that you defined in when you were creating the map are now selectable just like your default Tableau map. So I can go and say, I'm going to take out my neighborhood map. So the beauty is if you're working in a particular area, you could add all these different layers to your map, and depending on your purpose, you could either just check or uncheck them for use in your map. So that's how you integrate it into Tableau. It's pretty straightforward, and like I said, it's free for probably most of what you do. I can show you an example of where, kind of a use case that I created. And I accept that this map is not the most beautiful, but I wanted to create a map using historical World War II bombing data, but what I wanted was a map that reflected the country's borders as they existed at the beginning of the war, rather than if you're just using the standard maps, it's always going to show you current map boundaries. So what I was able to do in Mapbox is create a very simple map. And actually I found the shapefile for the borders at the start of the war. So I was able to map out a historically accurate boundaries for the countries of Europe. And then actually here, this is also comes from Mapbox. I use, because you also have satellite view. So I took a satellite view, made it monochrome. So it kind of had that vintage look. So I can go and select any point and it'll pull up that map that I created with Mapbox. So this is an example of kind of a side thing I did, but there's really, because it's so customizable, you can really tailor maps to your specific use cases. There's a lot of tutorials on the Mapbox website, tons of tutorials. So, a lot of these features, like street view and stuff, maybe you couldn't do, but in terms of designing maps, you could, there's hours and hours of content available on Mapbox's site. So here's some of the other things that they do. Like I said, there's street view, navigation, that sort of thing. So, like I said, it's essentially a free service. So I definitely recommend poking around in there, particularly if you do a lot of mapping in your role, or even if you're just doing some projects on the side for Tableau Public or whatnot. Definitely highly recommend it because it's fun to play around with. And again, it's very highly customizable. So that's Mapbox.
Thanks, Karl. That's great. So, Karl, quick question. Looks like one of the attendees had a question. Is there an export function to keep files on-premise behind firewall? I think. Go ahead.
I don't know. I know that I've used it and published it on multiple companies' Tableau server, and there was no issue. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure what the connection is there. Although I have been in a case where someone had it blocked initially, so it wouldn't use external map sources. But I'm afraid I can't speak to exactly if it's possible to download the file. It may be. I just haven't really had the need to do so. I would just poke around on the site a little bit to see, what the options are.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of it having it live is that it's always constantly, up to date. I mean, they have a lot of other data on there, like traffic data and such that's live, that is part of their service. So I think, one of the good things about it is having it connected to live data.
Do you know if Mapbox as a tool is used with other BI tools? It's a question from me.
I think I feel like I've seen it mentioned in the context of Power BI. I personally have not tried that. I have to imagine that it is. It just happens to be that Tableau, because they have a close partnership with them, it's very easy to use in Tableau. And like I said, it's just by default, Tableau is using it. So I have to imagine that it's accessible through other BI tools. I've just only used it myself in Tableau.
Okay, thanks, Karl. I mean, the way I see it is like this is free. You can do some magic with this, and if people are using the basic maps that comes out of Tableau, there is an opportunity for them to rise their level now, right? So, it's good.
Yeah, I just used it this morning for a client because I had used the dark. Initially, I had used the dark Tableau map, and they said it was too black. So I went into Mapbox and created something similar with a more darker gray palette, which was that was like a 5-minute job. So I was able to customize it based on, client feedback very easy. So it's, basic things like that are very easy to do. If you want to get into some of it's highly, highly customizable. So it probably takes some time to learn, but basic colors and what you want to view on the map. Because a lot of times it's just, you don't need, the maps are too busy. Like, I don't want to see this and that. You can just click, 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 make it disappear and get a very simple map if you need that.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Karl. Appreciate it. I think if we are good, we can move on to the next one. Next one is the trivia. I'm very eager for that. I think without any further ado, I'll turn this to Viraj. He has done it a couple of times for the Tableau user group. So thanks, Viraj, for volunteering to do it one more time for us. Appreciate it. Yeah, up to you, Viraj. Take it away.
Thank you, Prem. So hello, everyone. I'll begin with a quick introduction about myself. I'm Viraj. I'm a senior business intelligence analyst at Brand360. I also work alongside Prem and Karl in the business intelligence practice. And for today evening, I'll be your quiz master. I really enjoy doing these trivias because these sort of open doors to some of the questions that I never thought would be pertaining to Tableau. So it's a fun way to learn, and it's really great to have everybody who's interested in Tableau to get engaged with this trivia. With that, I'll begin sharing my screen. Just let me know once you see it. Is it up?
Yep. I can see it.
All right. So with this, I would recommend all the people who have joined us today to go on to this website called menti.com. And there you would have to enter the code that you will see on screen right here. Is the code visible to you all? All right,
yeah.
The code is 4982882. The way we go about this is I would recommend you all to use your mobile phones. Just go to this website, which is www.menti.com. You'll be prompted to enter this code. And once you enter that, you will see the screen that reads Tableau Trivia. Alongside, I would also recommend you to have your laptop or any other device that you're using to join us today so that you could see the leaderboard and all the other prompts that follow after every question. I'll give a couple of minutes for everyone to get connected and come online. Meanwhile, I'll walk you through the rules. It's not really complicated, pretty straightforward. You'll have 10 questions in all related to Tableau and data visualization in general. You get 15 seconds to read and answer each question. We use this concept called fastest finger first, meaning the people who answer the question the fastest get higher points as compared to the others. And trust me, these games get really competitive. So I would recommend you all to bring your A game to this Tableau trivia. And the best part here is that the winner gets a Tableau e-learning voucher. So it's a win-win. You get to learn and you also have a chance at winning a voucher. With that, I see a lot of you guys have joined. I see a lot of hearts flowing in. So that's great. Let's give everyone a couple seconds to join. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions or any doubts as to how you log in and how do you get to this trivia, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. I'll wait for the next 2-3 seconds before we dive right in. All right, I think everybody's set. I think we have 18 participants who have joined and are participating in this trivia. So with that, let's dive right in. So the initial questions will be more around Tableau and your experience on Tableau. There's no correct answer here. This is just for us to get acquainted to you all who've joined us here. And again, this is also for you guys to get acquainted to the whole interface and feel good before we head right into the competitive part of the trivia. All right, it's a nice little histogram right here. We have a lot of people who are experienced, but also a lot of people who recently started using Tableau. So that's great. Next up, when it comes to data visualization, I think data prep is really essential. All the people who are really big on data visualization here would agree. So feel free to enter the data prep tool of your choice. It's just for us to know what you guys are using. All right, I think alteryx looks like is the front runner amongst the others, which is good to know. Oh, all right. SQL Server takes up. Nice. All right. I think no surprises here. SQL Server is winning, but it's great to see the variety of data prep tools that people are using out there. With that, let's head right into the trivia. I hope you guys are all ready. I wish you all the best. May the best person win. Let's head right into it. All right, we have answers. Okay, I think this question stumped a lot of people. Let's take a look at how the leaderboard looks. Okay, we have early leads for Mahesh. So a little context around that question. Although Sir Isaac Newton was definitely a pioneer, but not in the field of data visualization, while the other three were definitely some people who really contributed to this field in general. I'll give a couple seconds for people to read through this context before we move on to the next question. All right, let's head into the next question then. This one's for the real Tableau fanboys and fangirls who would know everything about Tableau. I think you got it right. All right. I mean, that's really nice. We have some real Tableau enthusiasts who joined us today. Well, when I said it gets competitive, I was really serious. You see that these leaderboards get flipped around quite often. All right, let's head into the next one. Okay. Let's see how the leaderboard looks on this. All right. So here's some context again around the question we just asked. While we've tried to provide context on most of the questions that we are asking, but some of the others are pretty straightforward, for which we'll show the leaderboard and we'll go on to the next question. All right, let's go on to the next one. I think this one's going to be a game of who answers the quickest. All right. Let's see what that did with the leaderboard. Okay, I think Shraddha is maintaining a lead. Okay, I think that was an easy one. All right. I think the people who paid attention to Karl's session will be able to answer this one.
This could take 5-10 seconds to read the question or answer. So.
I mean, I think we won't give people an option to get the answers by elimination, given the time constraint. Let's see how the leaderboard looks on this. Well, many people did get it right, so that's great. The leaderboard keeps shuffling, so there's no one who's taking it away. I think we are halfway or more than halfway through the questions. For all the people who are not in the top 4 or 5, you can still catch up. Let's see how the leaderboard looks. Shraddha keeping her lead steady. Let's see who can catch up. All right, a couple seconds for people to read, and then we'll move on to the next one. Right, I think this is going to level the playing field a bit. Interested to see how the leaderboard looks after this question. That shuffled it quite a bit. That's good to see as we head into the last question, if I'm not wrong. Before we head there, some context on what a Pareto chart looks like and what it is about. Cool. I think this one's going to give it away, I guess. Given that you're sharing my screen. All right, I'm going to move on to the next one. I guess this is the last question on the trivia. So buckle up. What I could do here is I could stop sharing momentarily for people to answer that, and I'll share back up once people have answered that question. I want to help people choose the answer that has maximum hits. I think majority of them have answered the question. So I'll share my screen back up. And we'll head right into the leaderboard with that. All right, I think Shraddha takes it home. I would recommend the winner to drop their name in the chat box, and I think Prem will reach out to you with the voucher details.
Thanks, Raj. Congrats for that. It was great. I think it had a very good mix of questions. Thank you for putting this together. Appreciate it.
All right, pleasure.
Hope everyone who took part in the trivia enjoyed it. Again, we are open to suggestions. If you want something else to be added there, please let us know. If we are in person, obviously we will do it in a different way and have kind of a networking session. But this is something we wanted to have as a breakout where we could learn a little bit about Tableau, and not just Tableau, like certain data visualization standards or skills as well. So hope you had some fun here. All right. Okay. So moving on to the next one, we have Wales on the line as well. He's the next speaker. I'm really excited to know what he has to share with us. So quick background about Wales. He's working as a business intelligence architect at Express. Express is a fashion retailer. I think they have both brick and mortar and e-commerce presence as well. So Wales, are you based in Ohio? Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Okay. So he's not in Maryland, but we are not limiting ourselves to just Maryland. When we find some excellent speakers, we want to bring them on board, and I'm glad Wales agreed to jump on this user group. Wales, I think he has a lot of experience working in MicroStrategy. He is well known in the MicroStrategy space. He's a MicroStrategy master title holder. And then in the last few years, he's working, doing a lot of work in Tableau and Tableau community. And he has his own blog post as well. And there are a lot of folks who write content for his blog post. So I will share the link to his blog post on the chat window here. But yeah, I'm very, very glad to have him here. I think he has presented his thoughts about dashboard design skills with few other Tableau community as well. So I'm glad he's here, and thanks Wales again for expressing interest to be here today.
Yeah, thank you, Prem, for having me here. Hello, guys. This is Wales. I have like overall 10 years experience working in business intelligence and data warehouse. Like Prem said, my primary focus is on MicroStrategy, but yeah, recently I've been more involved into Tableau and Power BI and other BI tools as well, like just to have a feel of how the BI tool stands with respect to each other. So today I'm going to share about the dashboard designer skills. Let me go ahead, share my screen. Yeah, so I would like to share 15 key points to keep in mind when it comes to dashboard designing. I know pretty much majority of the clients go with grid reports, but there are customers who are interested with dashboard data. So what you need to keep in mind when it comes to dashboard designing. So I'll be comparing my 15 key points in line with my INVIS that I participated in 2020 for Tableau, how my journey with those 15 points align with those aspects. So without further ado, I'll just proceed. So the very first thing that you need to keep in mind is your goal. So you need to know what problem statement are you trying to address for the customers. So you need to have a goal when you're building a dashboard. Are you trying to show a summary view of your KPIs, or are you trying to address a problem statement that a business is facing and you want to show that visually in the form of a dashboard? So you need to have a goal. That should be your number one priority when it comes to dashboard design. So with my I and Viz, so I took a topic of organ transplantation or organ donation. So that was my key focus, like how a simple layman person can understand what an organ donation is, how the journey of organ donor go through different phases. So that was my key goal with Tableau I and Viz in 2020. So I'm just comparing that with the key pointer. The second one, what I had was you need to know the key performance indicator, like what are your key metrics that you're trying to convey as part of your storytelling or in your dashboard. There could be like for each problem statement, it could be different. Like if you take banking, there might be focus on revenue, profit, or growth, or how the banks are performing year over year comparison, different KPIs. With retail, you can look at the store performance, or you can look at the conversion rate for each segment that is happening within retail stores. Or if it is e-com, you can look at different KPIs like how many products are getting sold on a weekend and a weekday basis, something of that. Like you can come up with different KPIs. First, try to study the business problem and then come with the key metrics that you want to show in your dashboard. So that's the second one. So with my I and Viz, I had to list down some of the key KPIs. Like I would like to show the statistics of organ donors in US, because I was having that data handy to share with audience. And then I was trying to show number of transplants that happened and number of people die each day due to organ donation not being available, and how many people sign up for organ donation, and like different KPIs I had to list down before I even start building my dashboard. So those are the KPIs I've listed down. And the third one you need to keep in mind is you need to know your audience. Like, are you targeting users who are like web-based, like they like to access your report or dashboard in the laptop or in the PC monitor, or they are more focused on iPad or more focused on iPhone? So you need to know who are your audience, like what are their source that they're going to view the data. So you have to design, or you have to come up with the wireframe accordingly. So that's another key aspect you have to keep in mind when you're working on dashboards. So for I and Viz, I have to come up with some of the key points. So I had few items that I have to keep in the design. So I had to write it down, and then I had to also identify that it's going to be web and mobile, because I and Viz is like more of competition. So I had to show both web and mobile capabilities of Tableau. Also, audience should be able to see the organ donation data in the mobile view as well. So I had to keep that in my mind before I start designing. So those are the points I've noted down. And number 4 is like you have to come up with the wireframe. Once you do all this analysis, you need to come with the wireframe, with the KPI that you have identified, with the audience kept in mind, with the goal that you have in mind. Start working on the wireframe. This is a fun part. I always say, like, everybody who works on dashboard, start building a wireframe before even like jumping into the dashboard. You can do a pencil sketch, or you can do a Adobe XD. It's a free tool, or you can use Figma. One example I can quickly show you here is like I have done a small Figma design here. I'm going to show you. So this is a small Figma design, like how you can navigate from one page to another page and have some key KPIs in the top and then some visualization in the down. So example I'm showing you, like how you can come with wireframes. Like once you have the wireframe in your mind, then it's easy to design the dashboard rather than straight away jumping into the dashboard. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight. So that's number 4. So for I and Viz, I had to come with some wireframe. This is one of the wireframe that I did for a different project. I'm just showing it here for an example. Like I had some navigation button. Based on the click of the button, you go to a different dashboard, and then how you navigate. So just a simple pencil sketch wireframe. You don't have to be fancy. You can even come with pencil sketch. So number 5 is like keep less. Like don't keep too much of information in your dashboard. Always less is more than pushing too much of things into the dashboard. Like you can have a reports tab where you can have too much of information on your reports. But when it comes to dashboard, I would say like focus as minimal as possible and focus on the key performance indicators. So that's the thing. So number 6, I would say like try to use navigation button, which will be helpful to tell your story as well. Like here, for example, for my InVis, I had to come with navigation button for a mobile view. Like I have a home page, I have a different donor page, I have a transplantation page, and how the journey of this transplantation happens and how geographically the transplantation is happening. So I have a navigation icon to navigate and then see the information. So keep that in mind when you design a dashboard. You don't have to put everything in one page and clutter things. You can split it and then tell the story in a better way. Number 7, be creative and innovative. I mean, I know pretty much we stick to standard bar chart or line chart or pie chart. Try to understand your data deeper and see like if there is a better visualization that you can convey, which can also tell the story of your data. So one example here in InVis had to come up with the organ donation process. Like how can I embed in Tableau? So I had to come with a process that I can explain, like how a donor is going through and how a patient is going through, and then how they merge together, and then finally the transplantation happens. So I'm trying to show that process in this diagram. So think innovative how you can convey your story. You can come with infographic style as well. You can put your process and you can explain what exactly your business is going through or what problem the business is running through, and then how can you address it through the process chart or an infographic chart that you want to do. Uh, that's one of the thing. Number 8, you have different, I mean, there are tons of charts available outside. Tableau, with Tableau, you can do a lot of complex charts with a lot of workarounds that you have. But yeah, think through what visualization will perfectly fit. You cannot use a pie chart for a yearly trend. You have to use a pie chart for a percentage contribution. Like if you want to see like percentage contribution of male and female gender buying experience, you can do that in a pie chart, but you cannot put that in a line chart. So you need to know like which visualization to use based on your data. So you choose the visualization very wisely, I would say. And number 9, you need to keep font and color in mind. The thumb rule I would say is like keep less than 3 to 5 colors. Don't go beyond that in your dashboard. If you start pushing more colors in your dashboard, then it will look very bad. Also, I would say like keep color blindness factor also in your mind. The science states that like majority of the male population is like color blindness. So there could be a customer who is color blindness who cannot see the color that you're using in your dashboard. So keep that factor in your mind as well when you design the dashboard. If you have a corporate standard, well and good, you can follow those corporate standard colors rather than trying out different colors. Number 10, responsive design. I know nowadays a lot of BI tool provide responsive design factor. So you have to keep that in your mind. Like I said, if you know your audience, like are they going to access in web, mobile, and iPhone? It's better to design once rather than designing 3 times. So how can you design a responsive dashboard which can fit in for your web, mobile, and iPad as well? So you have to keep that in mind when you're designing the dashboard. Number 11 is one of my favorite. Like when you try to do a migration project, for example, you are migrating from MicroStrategy to Tableau, or Tableau to Power BI, or Power BI to Tableau, or any BI tool for that matter. Don't try to do apple to apple conversion. Like if you have a dashboard in MicroStrategy, for example, there will be a flashy widgets or flashy visualization that you might have, which may not be available on Tableau, for example. Then you don't have to replicate with complex workaround and then achieve it in Tableau. You can try out different things what the tool is providing. So that's one thing I would say. When you work on a migration project, try out of the box. Like try to showcase the user what is available within the tool that you're moving. Like how can you make it a better design than you have in your like 3 years or 10 years of experience, 10 years of like dashboard that has been running for the business. So break that methodology and then try to do innovative. So that's what I would say. Then number 12, try to use selectors, filters, so you can slice and dice the data a better way. Like you have drop down selectors, you have checkbox, radio button, calendar selectors. So try to use those in your dashboards, because those will help you to slice and dice the data and look at the data in a different perspective. So that's one thing, keep in mind. Number 13, like when you use info window or annotation or tooltips, try to keep it meaningful, like meaningful with respect to your data. Don't just go with standard default tooltip. You may have to rephrase the tooltip and make it better and meaningful to understand it, like when you mouse over and look at the data. So here I've used a tooltip with a different worksheet showing a trend of tourism, and I've also used annotation with how COVID is impacting country to country with tourism. So example, I'm just showing you a variation in dashboard. Number 14, it's like I would like to show a small video, which is more of like asking, 1 minute, yeah, asking question as a business user. Like that could be case where you might be working with business user on a self-service analysis or a self-service business case, like where the user would like to build the dashboard, and as an IT person, you might be like assisting the business. So how can you leverage the feature that Tableau or any BI tool offers? One of the features that Tableau has is like you can ask question with the worksheet that you have. I'll just play a small video which will explain this feature that Tableau has.
You need answers? Ask your data. No, seriously, just ask your data. It's pretty easy, really. And everyone can do it. He can ask it to help find new opportunities. Or he can ask it to check out the competition. You can ask pretty much anything. Okay, not that. Well, maybe that. She can ask it to evaluate market positioning. And he can ask it to help figure out if it's going to be a great vintage. You can even ask it how to bring in the professionals. So, any questions? Ask Data. Answers for everyone.
Yeah, so all I would like to highlight is like try to use this feature when you're talking and having an interaction with business user. I would recommend explaining this feature to business so they can like ask question with the source that you're giving them. Like they can ask question and then look at the trend of the your business performance, or they can look at the variations that is happening with your data that you have. So try to use the feature rather than like making it a complex way of like giving them 10 steps to drag and drop and then create the visualization. So that's one thing I wanted to highlight when you do dashboard self-service analysis with business users, working closely with them. Try to explain this feature and then use this functionality so they themselves can use the data source easily. So that's one of the point I would like to highlight. The next one is the final one. Like once you have everything designed, you need to review or you need to look at your dashboard from a performance optimization or tuning perspective. I mean, I know you can work closely with your administrator or a DBA or different partners or stakeholders that you work within the organization to improve the performance. Like there could be a report which is taking like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, where you can reduce that report to a shorter time frame. So try to tune your dashboard. Like I said, if you keep it less, it will render faster. If you keep more, then yeah, definitely it's going to take longer time. And don't put a grid with like millions of rows in your dashboard. That's not a best practice. Try to keep it as minimal as possible. Like you can slice and dice and then come back and look at the granular data, but don't straight away show like millions of records, a grid data in your dashboard. So those are some of the things I wanted to highlight. And I had 2 tips to share. One is like keep only exclude option in Tableau. Sometimes it behaves funky or weird. I would say like remove them when you have a tooltip. It's basically you just have to include command button. If you uncheck that, you will not have that include exclude option. So you'll see a proper tooltip. That's one thing I would like to highlight whenever you work on Tableau. And the other one I wanted to highlight is like you may not always design a dashboard which is responsive, because you might be focused on web and you might have designed a web dashboard, but how can you make it at least look presentable in mobile, what you designed in web? So in that scenario, I would say like delete the phone layout before you publish it. So at least it looks what you see in web, you get it in mobile as well. Or else it will look completely distorted if you don't keep that thing in mind when you start designing the dashboard. So that's one of the tip I would like to highlight, which I learned through my iInvest journey. And of course, I wanted to share one of the inspiring posts on LinkedIn by Komal Patel. So what I mentioned, the 15 points, she has listed the same thing in a different way. Like, how do you build insightful dashboards? You have to keep your user in mind. You have to come up with wireframe. I said here, she has mentioned you have to decide the order of placement of visuals, and also which chart to use. And then you have to, of course, do the data cleansing and all those things in the backend part, data analysis and wireframe, and then what type of analysis you want to show, what story you want to highlight. Definitely look at your data source and then understand the data before you build the dashboard. And do ask business what are their key important metrics that they want to see in the dashboard. I mean, it was very inspiring. I thought I'll share it to the community. And few blogs I would like to share, which I keep referring quite often. Selvaraj Twins, Tableau Magic, Playfair Data, all are Zen Masters blog, which I keep following. And my blog is this. You can feel free to take a look. And there are some helpful sites where you can go and download the images, or you can download icons, or you can remove your background. I mean, if you want to remove some background color in your image, you can remove that using this site. Tons of links is available here. Feel free to go and look. And one video I would like to highlight is that recently Autumn, she published a data design series. Like, there are three series that you have. One, like, how can you design a wireframe in Figma, which is free, which I showed you like a few minutes back. You can do it by yourself. You can learn through this. It's a free video. And there is one more with PowerPoint. Kevin Selvaraj has given the video. How can you do it? The same wireframing on PowerPoint. So that's another thing. And if you are a fan of Illustrator, you can even watch this video. How can you build this on Illustrator as well? Like, I mean, there are tons of tools available, but these are some of the good dashboard design course, I would say. Like, if you want to build a visually appealing dashboard, feel free to look at it. And I also want to show the iInvest dashboard. Like, after keeping all these points, I was able to build this iInvest dashboard. So if you see here, I initially talk about what is organ transplantation, who can donate, and what's the complexity involved for organ transplantation. And I've shown like how much time takes for each organ to be transplanted. Like, what is the time at which it takes from one patient to another patient that it can sustain the organ. And I also have given like a little bit of visual appeal of like one donor can save up to 8 lives by giving 8 different organs in their life. And also the journey that I talked about. If you see here, I've given like, this is a patient journey. So your patient needs a transplant, and then they are getting listed in the hospital, and then they're waiting for the organ. Whereas the donor is ready to give the organ, and they refer to the hospital, and then it becomes a donor, and then they finally do a match run. And if it matches, then you go through the further process. So this whole process I was able to integrate within Tableau, and then bring it, explain this journey of transplantation. And of course, I've given some visualization next to each of the section, highlighting those section. And some different way of representing, like waiting list, how the like kidney is one of the major thing people are waiting, and then next to that is liver. And similarly, like 60% of deceased donors in 2019 were male, and then 40% is female. And living donor in USA, out of 19,000 donors, like 7,397 were living donors. So I was able to highlight that. And also I did some timeline series, and then I've put some fact check in the middle, which can tell 20 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, which is one of the key things I wanted to highlight in my design. And then how many number of women are in the waiting list, like in US. So those information I've highlighted, and then I've shown that geographically, like which region is like pretty much more organ transplantation has taken place in US in the form of color codes. So you can see pretty much here that West Coast pretty much is heavily organ transplantation happens, and then comes the southern part of Texas and other areas. So geographic map, and also I'm trying to highlight. I've used a spatial file here where I'm showing which country follow opt-out policy and which country follow opt-in policy. So that I've given it in a different way of geographic map, and also the inspiration from where I got this, the whole idea of building this visualization. I've mentioned that, and a couple of sources I've referred. So yeah, if you keep all this point, then if you design with the wireframe in mind, yeah, definitely you will do a great design. And like Prem said, I have my blog. If you feel like to look at the blog, other people have shared their dashboard design experience. You can go ahead, look at it, like step by step. People have shared how they go through with respect to design, like dashboard design, and what all challenges they have gone through, and then how they have approached it to address it. So yeah, feel free to look at that. You will learn a lot of things from here. And I do have a post explaining the same information, what we discussed today. So that's it from my side. If you have any question, I'll be happy to share.
Thanks, Wales. Appreciate it. Great content. Wow. I mean, of course, you had your checklist, I should say, and then at the same time, I'm glad to know that you take inspirations from others, and you follow a few folks who are in the community. So about your Ironviz visual, is this the first time you did, or you're a frequent Ironviz participant?
Yeah, this is the first time I did. I mean, since I have MicroStrategy experience, I wanted to give the best. So that's why, like, I was like going through like dashboard, all the process that I used to do in office. So I had to go through that and then build it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. I'm sure you will be doing more in the upcoming future. We'll be eager to see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Wales. Any questions for Wales from anyone? All right. Okay. I'll take the silence as no. But of course, a few people before they dropped off gave some great comments. So thanks, Wales. Okay. All right. Coming back to the Tableau user group, we are planning to have one more in July timeframe. Most likely that's going to be virtual as well. And hopefully in the fall, we could have an in-person one. If vaccination goes through and things are getting back to normal. Again, as I said, this user group event is for you. So if you have any feedback, any comments, please let us know. And most importantly, we are always looking for speakers who are willing to share their knowledge. I'm sure you will have few things. It's just that you have to list down the things you have done, and I'm sure people can get benefited out of it. So don't shy away. If you feel like you have content to share, please come forward. We'll be happy to take volunteers for any kind of speaking engagement with the Tableau user group. With that, I think we can wrap it up. Thanks again for everybody's time. I thought most of the folks continue to stay till the end. I appreciate it. I think hope it was an informative session for you. Bye all.